I just fell off a rowing machine. You're probably wondering why. So the other day, I was browsing YouTube, as most bored adolescents do, and I came across this video by Mark Lewis, a fitness YouTuber who is a monster at endurance sports. He runs ultra marathons for fun.
This is nuts. There's no one here. Just in a field.
With his little dog Nixon, he runs marathon-length jogs. That poor dog, and competes on Swift. Anyways, the video shows him attempting to beat one of UK's best rowing Olympians ever, over a 2-kilometre all-out assault on the rowing machine. The Olympian did it in a time of 6 minutes 15, albeit he did it extremely sick, which is the equivalent of attempting to row with only one leg. Mark then attempted to beat this time, and came in just slower with a time of 6 minutes 24. To put that in perspective, a competitive time most people aim for over 500 metres is 2 minutes flat, giving you a 2-kilometre time of about 8 minutes. Mark's 500 metre splits were 1 minute 36.2. That's nuts. But as I watched the video, whilst eating pancakes and watching a muscle-bound giant roll around the floor, gasping for air, I thought, I can beat him. He's a 48-year-old fitness enthusiast with 120,000 subscribers, a donut addiction, and a weird habit of falling off fitness apparatus. I'm a 21-year-old gym rat, with one surfboat carnival under his belt, which was more of a budgie smuggler convention and a chance to get my kid off than anything. 20 subscribers, one being my mum. Thanks, mum. Obviously I'm gonna win. Well, that went well. So looking at my first attempt, there's a lot I need to work on. My first 500 metre split came in a time of 1 minute 38. So off the bat, I was behind the 8 ball. Over 1 kilometre, I hit a time of 3 minutes 20, which is quite respectable. If I was going to get anywhere near my donut loving friend, I needed to lift now. I needed one of those comebacks you see in the movies, where the underdog snatches defeat from the jaws of victory. Unfortunately, I died. Considering I had no cardio strategy or real knowledge of how to get a good 2K time, I think there's plenty to work on. So why is Mark so good at rowing? Well, rowing is about building power, and if you have long, heavy levers, you can pull much harder with relative ease. Mark is 6'6", weighing in at 95 to 100 kilograms, or 205 to 220 pounds. I'm only 6 foot, 185 centimeters, weighing in at 79 kilos. In terms of mass, I haven't got anything compared to him. So unless I spontaneously gain 6 inches and 20 kilograms, I'm gonna lose. So what's the solution?
Alright, Mark, you win. You win this time, Mark Lewis.
I'm giving myself 2 weeks to get somewhere close to Mark's time. When you look at me, you might think I'm fit, but in terms of cardio, it's just not there. So hopefully, 2 weeks is enough time to get my time somewhere respectable. I'll be training 3 times a week, with 2 sessions being interval sessions of 500 meters and 1 all-out 2K attempt. Let the pain train begin. Although I love my strength training, specificity is necessary for me to get good at rowing. That means no more lateral raises to make my medial delt look aesthetic. I'll still do strength training, but with a focus on pulling movements, which will help me get faster at rowing. During the latest training session, I attempted to do 500 meters as fast as I can, just to see where I'm at. I found that with pulling mostly with my legs instead of my back, made me much faster, which is quite surprising considering the legs are much bigger and stronger than your back. But something that I took away from that session was my cadence. Over the entire 500 meters, my cadence was a bit too high at 34 strokes per minute, in comparison to Mark's 28, which he managed to hold over the entire 2 kilometers. In theory, if 2 rowers go the same speed, but one is going 6 strokes per minute less, he doesn't have to pull as hard. However, in my predicament, I found that with a very high cadence, it led to me burning out much faster. So I got to drop my stroke rate and increase my pulling. And with my background with Gymbro powerlifting, my strength should be applicable to help me pull harder over a long distance. Anyways, I managed to clock in 1 minute 30 for my time, over 500 meters. A good solid time, but it's not as fast as I probably need to go. After the first couple of attempts and sessions of rowing, I realized in 2 weeks I wasn't going to get anywhere close to Mark's time. I was having troubles with my straps coming loose with some of my 1K training session attempts, and it demotivated me quite a lot to keep pushing for more distances. If we're going off strength numbers alone and total aesthetic of my person, it's clear that I could be categorized as above average to some degree, but as a result of me focusing on only really lifting, it led to some major flaws in my overall fitness. Not only am I struggling to finish the 2 kilometers, but my mental toughness and the desire to keep pushing myself to finish the length is wavering. A long extended effort for me over the last few years has been 15 to 20 reps or maybe a minute of hard effort. And what I've learned about myself as a result of these tests is that these imbalances in my fitness need to be addressed, and they need to be addressed now. I love my powerlifting, I love my bodybuilding training, and it's something I enjoy and motivates me every day to keep going. But why would you have an awesome looking car with a rundown engine that breaks down after a couple minutes? It doesn't make sense. With the realization that a man who was born in the disco era is going to annihilate my 2K time, and that the only advice that he had for me was to pull like crazy. But thank you for responding, I really appreciate that. But the only thing left to do was to push me, test me, and beat me. As we started off to my final attempt at this 2 kilometers, my first 500 meter time came in at 1 minute 45. My goal over the whole entire 2 kilometers was to hold 1 minute 45 pace, and for the last 500 meters explode and try and get somewhere under 7 minutes. As I rode over the last couple of attempts though, I realized that my straps had been coming loose, and this had hampered a lot of my pulling ability and maybe even top end wattage. So as a result, my trusty roommate and best mate Toby had been trying to keep it tight the whole time. But in the end, just trying to get around him definitely hampered my ability to pull, and when I'm trying to push off and I find that my legs are getting looser, it's definitely something that affects my time, but no excuses. Around 1 kilometer in, hit 3 minutes 30 pace, right on schedule, around that 1:45 per 500 meter time. I was really pleased with this actually, and it kept motivating me to push on to finish the time.
This is fun! Cardio's awesome, isn't it? Oh, wait! You're going for easy, come on. You're holding the pace, you're doing it.
Coming into the final 500 meters, I was really happy. I was like, I'm gonna make this. The realization that I was probably gonna get under 7 minutes was awesome. I was stroking, I was holding that pace perfectly. Even Toby realized I was gonna finish on time. He's like, you've got this, you just gotta keep going. Keep going. The 7 minute goal was in reach. It was gonna happen. I just have to keep pushing myself. You just gotta push for the last 10 seconds. Hamish, keep pushing for the last 10. Hamish, what are you doing? Keep pushing.
No! What did I do? 0.5 off. It's my fault. There's a good 5 seconds and just the goddamn shoes coming out. So I thought the last 50 meters, over the last 10 seconds, my last stroke I had like 10 meters. I thought, oh, I'll carry me over the line. Yeah, and it didn't.
I'm an idiot. I could have got it. With 5 meters to go, I thought I'd glide over the line perfectly in time, under 7 minutes. 0.5 over. I'm an idiot. And the dismay I showed at the time is still held to today. It's quite upsetting.
Sponsored by Manscaped.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is. Okay, Mark. Well done, you beat me again. So I think for at least the next training block, after, or combined with my powerlifting and bodybuilding training, I'm going to be trying to do as much cardio as I can, because not only does that feel really good to do, it's also fun. And being good at different skills is quite motivating to see yourself get better at stuff. So I'm going to revisit this in a couple months to see where my 2K's at. Because right now, I feel a little bit annoyed about it, 0.5 off. But honestly, it was a good effort. Having a really nice physique and a really strong frame, which can pick up weights and push weights, is awesome. And I love it, and I'm not going to stop doing it. But I think I need to invest more time into my cardio, address those imbalances, make myself a holistic athlete, even though I'm not really an athlete, I'm more just a everyday goer trying to do his best. And I really like Mark's attitude of above average, so if I could be above average in some facets of cardio, I'll be happy. Thank you for testing me, Mark. I appreciate you.